Welcome to the Bendino Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. The WNBA owners, the WNBA, they look at these players like a joke. To be fair, why shouldn't they? These players are demanding 30% of league revenue prior to expenses being paid. The players that have never driven in viewership, the players that have never brought in attendance, the players that have never turned a profit, the players that wear pay us what you owe us t-shirts. Yeah, if I'm WNBA owners and I know the figures like the back of my hand and the players are going to come up to me and ask me for 30% of league revenue, I would say, yeah, I'm just going to laugh in your face. And that seems to be what these WNBA owners are currently doing. It's been a month since they've received a proposal from the Players Association, and a month later, they still have not responded. Let's get right into it. Please like the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that so much. Alexa Filippo. Shout out to Alexa Filippo, by the way. Alexa Filippo, Annie Costabile. I give them time to time, but they're on top of these things. As far as reporting goes, they're on top of it. So shout out to those two ladies. WNBA CBA negotiations. 4 ways a new deal can get done. In just over 100 days, on May 8th, the 2026 WNBA season is set to tip off with 3 games. Between now and then, the league needs to hold a 2-team expansion draft for the Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo. More than 100 unrestricted free agents need to sign contracts. And the 2026 rookies need to be drafted to their teams. Most importantly, the league and players need to agree on a collective bargaining agreement, a process 15 months in the making, since the players union decided to put out a hype tape, a hype video of them saying, we deserve more. We're opting out. As the deadline passed on January 9th, the sides ushered in a period called status quo, where the conditions of the 2020 deal remain in effect. In the 3 weeks since, the stalemate has continued. The Women's National Basketball Players Association is still awaiting an official response from the league since sending in a proposal a month ago. The league believes the proposal didn't warrant a response, since it wasn't that different from the past ones the union has submitted, and instead, sources told ESPN it's waiting for the players to submit what it would consider a more realistic proposal. The players send in a proposal, the league says no. The players send in that same proposal, the league says, you guys aren't serious. This had to be an accident, right? They mean to send over the same proposal that they just sent, so we'll wait for the real one. This is like you ask a girl out, she says no, then you come back and say, hey, you want to go to dinner? It's totally not a date. Did I just tell you no? Oh, this is like the kid asking their parents, hey, can I get a toy? No. Hey, can I get a Lego? Wait, didn't I just say you can't get a toy? But since you're changing the words from toy to Lego, now you think I'm suddenly gonna say yes? They're just going to continue to ask and ask and ask until they say yes. This is what it seems to be. They're going to just nag and nag and nag and nag. Can I get a toy? No. Can I get a Lego? No. Can I get a K'Nex? No. Can I get a Barbie? No. Fine, you can get the Nerf gun. Just leave me alone. Stop asking these questions. As the season creeps closer, and with so much to accomplish before the ball can be tipped, the clock seems to be ticking on the two sides coming together on a deal. And multiple sources have told ESPN there is an understanding that the only way to find a resolution is to find a compromise. Get out of here. Get out of here. The only way to find resolution is to find a compromise? And one player told ESPN, that's literally what a negotiation is. You don't say. You don't. And I want to know who that one player is, because I'm assuming that's one player that probably voted for the strike. Did that player not understand that it's the players who aren't doing the compromising? Does that player understand that it's the players who aren't doing the compromising? Every proposal we see, every offer we see from the owners seems to be more and more compromising. They seem to give more and more money, and it's the players that say, no, but this 30%, we want this. We're not compromising, we want this. Interesting. Assessing a path forward. Come to a mutual understanding on revenue sharing. A big part of the reason this stalemate is that the sides still do not see eye to eye on how revenue sharing will work on a new agreement. The league has proposed a system where players would receive on average 70% of net revenue over the lifetime of the agreement, while the players have proposed receiving 30% of gross revenue. Sources have indicated to ESPN that owners are unlikely to significant yield on the revenue sharing position, though there is wiggle room at the cost of other expenses they incur under the player's current proposal. The league has stated its priorities are not only to increase player compensation, but amid an opportunity to shift from decades of operating at a loss to sustained profitability, to also incentivize owners to continue investing. Decades of operating at a loss. Let me take a sip out of my coffee. Not years. Decades. We're going into the 30th season. Uno, dos, tres. Tres decades. Part of my Spanish is tres décadas. I don't know. Of operating at a loss. How sad. You know what happens after losing money 3 decades in a row? You know what happens to companies? They fold. They go out of business. They stop reinventing the wheel. They run out of money. But WNBA doesn't run out of money. Why? Because you got Big Brother NBA. Here's some more money. Here's some more money. Like you give your kid money to go to the boardwalk and they run out of money. They turn around and they come back to daddy. Hey, here's some more money. Here's just an everlasting amount of money. Just here you go, and here you go, and here you go. Players have broadly stated that the percentage of gross revenue for which they're asking, quote, represents our value and is not too much. As Nafisa Collier told ESPN this month. We just got done saying that they lost money 3 decades in a row, and Nafisa Collier is saying that represents their value. I'm telling you, folks, the arrival of Caitlin Clark has emboldened these ladies something fierce. The battery is in their back because they've had 2 years of respectable metrics. Viewership and attendance. Find a middle ground on housing. Quote, housing remains a priority for all. Housing for all players remains priority, especially for those on non-guaranteed contracts and international players. One player told ESPN, but I think this is one of the toughest issues for the league for whatever reason. Now we compare this to others. The NFL, NBA, NHL, MLS, and MLB do not provide season-long housing for players. The NWSL has a plan to phase out team-provided housing by 2027. Now here we go. But that plan has stipulations for players who didn't have high salaries and or are in expensive markets. In a deal for the WNBA CBA, expect to see a similar type of compromise when it comes to salary and market variability. Wow. So the WNBA is still willing to offer housing for players that quote don't have high salaries and or are in expensive markets. So the players that can afford their own house, you guys got to buy your own house. For the players that get paid a pretty penny, you got to spend that pretty penny on your own house. For the players that can't, we got you. For the players that coming in for a relief contract, we got you. But all you earners out there, sorry, you gotta pay for it. Welcome to the real world. Lean into the wins. Much of the Players Association narrative for months has been the insistence that the league's proposals are so far from adequate as to be insulting. That's not an unusual tack for a union to take in such disputes, but sources outside the Players Association have told ESPN that the union might benefit by starting to talk more optimistically about the wins it appears to have even before the deal is done. The wins it appears to have even before the deal is done. Now, this is why it's a tactic used in leagues like the NBA, the MLB, the NFL, because those leagues make money. Those leagues actually bring in billions of dollars. The WNBA brings in negative millions of dollars. They bring in millions, but just negative millions. So if you're a fan and you see that the NFL is getting, all these guys get paid way too much for me, to be honest. Like, these contracts are all absurd. But you could at least think and say, okay, well, if they say the league's making $100 billion, whatever the fucking number is, I don't know how much it is, $10 billion, who knows? Who knows with the NFL? Well, then you can say, okay, well, some of these players, given the fact that they're raking in over billions of dollars, yeah, maybe they should be getting paid more than 3 million or 4 million or 5 million or whatever the case may be. When it comes to a league that routinely loses money, no. Better example might be UFC. UFC's making tons of dough. Tons of dough. And then these fighters get a 10 and 10. $10 for the fight, $10,000 for the fight, $10,000 if you win. Well, maybe that doesn't sit right with too many people. Reestablish trust. On January 14th, 2020, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and Union President Neko Ogwumike sat side by side and announced an 8-year CBA. They both wore blue, Ogwumike in a royal blue dress, and Kathy Engelbert a navy blue blazer. Oh, look at those two. Look at those two. Kathy she looks different now. That's all I'm going to say. As they started news of their agreement on Good Morning America, quote, "We're so proud of the players and their ability to unify around important issues to them. While they bargained hard, we came together, collaborated, and we have what we think is a groundbreaking agreement that's going to support these players for the long term." It was a different time. This was before COVID upended the world and severely impacted sports seasons. Oh, so before that, they were indeed. Before the player activism during the ensuing bubble season that led to the sale of the Atlanta Dream. This was before the 2022 capital raise that further complicated the WNBA ownership structure. It was before the explosion of women's basketball's popularity driven by Caitlin Clark, and it was before closed doors dissatisfaction with Engelbert leadership spilled into the public when Collier put the commissioner on blast during her 2025 exit interview. It was before there was a massive break of trust between the league and its players. It was before people watched this stuff. When you can lie to the 46,000 old fans and tell them things are much more hunky-dory than they really are. I guarantee you, if people were paying attention, like people, not drones, like people that actually think for themselves, we're actually watching this and we're following this deal as it goes. People, not shills that get paid to support, people that can think for themselves. They would say, wait, the WNBA, they're getting fleeced in this deal here. Wait, forget that. Why is the NBA still paying for a lot of this? Why is the NBA still helping you out so much? Maybe you guys should just go do your own thing. It was a different world back then, indeed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, that would mean so much to me. See you next time, and as always, take it easy.